So what are we talking about today, Lucas?
Dancing aliens.
Yeah. I love that. That's my favorite. I think that's my catchphrase now. Just
Yeah.
So good. Right, so to clarify, today we're talking about aliens, colonial marines, and as is the way with Wiki Weekends, we are reading the Wikipedia page for it. Funnily enough, we're going to start at the beginning with a rundown of what Alien Colonial Marines is, for all those people at home who aren't familiar with this huge piece of shit. Aliens Colonial Marines is a 2013 first-person shooter developed by Gearbox Software, not really, which I'm sure we'll discover in a moment, and it's based on the Alien science fiction film series. It's published by Sega, blah, 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 and it's a sequel, a direct sequel, in fact, to Aliens. I'm not sure how canon it is, because they do have some DLC that has like Sigourney Weaver in it.
Yeah, they did, didn't
Yeah,
they?
and you've got to pay for it. And it also reveals that, like, I think Hicks survives or something like that. It's really stupid, but yeah. And it follows a group of colonial marines, hence the title, a fictional military unit, as they confront the Weyland-Yutani Corporation in an effort to rescue the survivors from the Sulaco spaceship. The game features a campaign mode that supports both single-player and cooperative gameplay. It's also very, very bad. So, Lucas, have you played Aliens Colonial Marines?
I haven't played it because I've been so scared off by, when it launched, everybody just went, avoid this pile of shit.
Yeah, as an idea of how bad this game was, I think there was a class action lawsuit
Yeah.
filed against it, and people actually got their money back. It's crazy to think about. So, Colonial Marines was developed over 6 years and suffered a tumultuous development because the Gearbox decided to focus on its other projects, like Duke Nukem Forever, presumably fodder for another video, and Borderlands 2.
It did work out well for them, yeah. Duke Nukem was great.
One of those projects did actually make them some money. So they outsourced a significant part of the game to other studios. The game was heavily inspired by Cameron's film. It was a direct sequel to it, so it better fucking have been. Concept artist Sid Mead, who collaborated with Cameron designer Sulaco, was hired to design locations. I didn't know that. 4 downloadable content packs were released, adding multiplayer maps, new cooperative mode, new campaign mode that takes place before the campaign in the base game. It sold more than 1 million copies, but received negative reviews due to technical problems, low quality graphics, and the weak enemy artificial intelligence. In April 2013, 2 players filed a lawsuit claiming that Gearbox and Sega had falsely advertised the game, but it lost class action status in 2000. Oh, they lost.
Oh, they lost?
I don't think they should have done. That was false advertising.
That was blatant false advertising.
It was so bad.
I'll try and find a comparison.
Find the clip of the famous one of it's the first showing it had with all the really atmospheric lighting as they're walking through this abandoned spaceship, and then in the game, because I think the best friends did it best, where they show it and they just throw a grenade and the grenade goes puh, and it looks like it's out like Quake 1. And they just lose their shit.
Literally, if you look at the tech demo they showed off,
it is lies.
It looks like good now.
It is complete big lies. It's amazing. And I'm going to mention the best friends again, because they did the best bit in their playthrough of it, where they say the aliens should just say Borderlands. This is Borderlands. Anyway, so
Buy Borderlands.
Do you give a fuck about the gameplay of this piece of shit, or do you want to just go straight? Actually, no. Do I care about the plot?
There we go.
What's the plot? Because I love Aliens. I love me some Aliens. I love the film or the series. I think it's hilarious that now it's a series that has more bad movies than good.
Like many series nowadays.
That is one of my favourite things in film these days, where there are now more bad Terminator films than good ones, and there are more bad Alien films than good ones.
Star Wars films.
There are more bad Star Wars films. It's just leave these franchises alone, and they would have just been timeless classics that exist in just this vacuum of being perfect and untouchable.
Can you imagine the reverence Star Wars would have had
if it was just
the first 3 films?
If it's just 3 really fucking good movies. 17 weeks after the events of Aliens, the Sephora spaceship sends a full battalion of colonial marines to investigate the Sulaco spaceship, now in orbit around LV-426 Moon. A massive xenomorph infestation is discovered inside the Sulaco, and several marines are killed in the initial onslaught. I already don't give a shit, because this goes on for so long.
Yeah, maybe just skip this.
Because I've just realised it's about these characters no one gives a shit about.
However, if you buy the DLC, it's characters you give a shit about.
It's so bad. So let's go into development. So Colonial Marines was conceived by Gearbox Software after an encounter between the company's creative director and the director of the original film, Ridley Scott. When Brothers in Arms Road to Hill 30 was released in 2005, Gearbox was interested in working with an existing intellectual property and had previously considered Scott's 1982 film, Blade Runner, and Michael Mann's film, Heat, as candidates. Oh man, a Heat-based game would be awesome. You familiar with Heat?
No, I'm not.
Heat is super. It's a heist film, but it has really fucking good like gunplay in it. 'Cause the guy who directed it is like a huge like nerd for guns.
Oh, right, okay,
And it
yeah.
has like Val Kilmer doing the coolest tactical reload you've ever seen. Like, it has this like extended like masturbatory shot of Val Kilmer reloading an assault rifle. And it's the coolest thing you've ever seen. Anyway.
Thing is, I just really weirded out that we don't have more good heist games. Look at like GTA 5's heists and how cool that would be as like full game.
Was there like anything more like just hilarious for the brief period like, related to GTA 5 than just was that website which was Are Heist Out Yet? And it just said no. And it was up for about 3 fucking years. Like, are GTA Heist out? No. It's like that Twitter profile that's like, is Michael Jackson dead? And every day it just tweets out yes.
Oh, God.
And it's like, he's still dead. And then one day it tweeted out no. And then a quick correction, oh, right, he's still dead.
Oh, God.
So that's just a little thing that just amuses me greatly. So anyway, Martell's discussion with Scott on the Aliens universe inspired him to approach 20th Century Fox, who bought the rights to publish games based on the franchise in December 2006. Yes, Fox have never made a bad film. Gave Gearbox complete freedom to present them with an idea for the game. Again, probably not a good idea. Because Gearbox had experience with first-person shooters and the development of the team was composed of people who were fans of Alien. Oh man, that's really bad, isn't it? You were fans of a series and you just shat all over it.
No, they didn't. They just shipped it out to people who didn't give a shit.
The company proposed the first person, there'll be a direct sequel to it. So although the final script for the game was written by Gearbox writer Mikey Newman, Bradley Thompson, David Weddle, the writers of the 2004 series Battlestar Galactica collaborated with Gearbox during the Writers Guild of America strike. So they're the writers who just like scab the fuck out and work during the strike.
Yeah, I think that sums everything up,
doesn't it? That's a sign of quality right there.
That's probably why we skipped the plot section.
The game takes place shortly after the Alien sequel, Alien 3, but addresses the events that lead to it. As a result, Colonial Marines is considered part of the series canon. Oh no. Oh no!
That's heavy.
Oh no! That means that Alien now has a load of bad things about it. Because Alien 1 and 2 are really good, or Alien and Aliens are really good. And then we've got Aliens 3, which is, and then you've got Alien Resurrection, which is, oh. And then you've got Prometheus, oh. And then you've got, like, Covenants, oh dear God, no. And now we've got Colonial Marines. Do you know what it reminds me of? Like, it's someone I said they break it down. Like, one day, I hope, just on my shelf, I have, like, the Lord of the Rings books. And I have, like, the Silmarillion. I have, how do you pronounce that? The Silmarillion. I have that.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, and then I have, like, you know, The Hobbit 1, 2, and 3 on Blu-ray, and then Shadow of Mordor 1 and 2. And I just get to look at it and go, now the series is complete, and Tolkien can rest in peace knowing that his vision has been realised.
Oh, God.
Just imagine, like, it's like I have got at home, like, the Aliens quadrilogy on Blu-ray with all the extra cool shit in it, and I'm now tempted to buy just Colonial Marines.
And just shove it
right in the middle. I didn't know it was still canon. I thought they just shit it out. Oh my God, it's so bad. Oh, I didn't know.
Oh, Karl's just dying on camera.
I didn't know it was canon. I thought, surely.
They just wiped it from existence.
Yeah, it's like, like Aliens versus Predator.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that is technically canon because they reference Wayland Yutani in those films. And they even bring in the guy, Bishop. I forget his name now. I forget the name of the actor. Damn, it's going to annoy me now.
Yeah,
Lance Hendrickson. They bring him in, and he's the model for Bishop, I think it is. And so they've got that direct tie. So he's like, not only is Alien, the Alien series, does it have the duds of Alien 3 and Resurrection and Clone Wars, it also has Alien versus Predator. And it's like, oh God, no.
Oh, God.
It's so bad. And the Alien is so fucking cool. And this game's ruined it.
Oh, yeah, man. Like Alien Isolation, for example. That was
amazing.
Great. And it just shows off how cool one alien on its own can be.
Well, spoilers, there's actually 2. That is probably my least hate. It's my least fate. I hate that twist. Where it's multiple aliens. No, it's what? Make it one alien.
Yeah, just make it one for once. Come on.
Make it one fucking alien. It's so stupid. It's like, no, it's actually like 10,000 aliens. Like, the alien isn't scary when there's a lot of them, unless you are like a armed squadron of Colonial Marines.
You know what's really scary? When they all just glitch out and spaz.
They are scary aliens. It's like, I think the way I heard it summed up is like the alien, the most terrifying creature of science fiction. Like the first one you encounter in Colonial Marines, you overpower with your bare hands.
Oh.
Yeah. The scariest like movie monster ever created, and you overpower it with your bare... What a terrifying enemy. Oh, God. So bad. So bad. Oh, I fucking hate this. I'm so annoyed. So annoyed. Anyway, all right. So production. Although Gearbox is credited as the primary developer of Colonial Marines, multiple developmental studios contributed to the game's production. Initial work began on 2007 under the codename Pecan, with the creation of a prototype by Demiurge Studios, who helped Gearbox with networking and multiplayer assets. Between 2007 and 2010, Gearbox did not focus on development of the game, instead to work on the projects like Borderlands and Duke Nukem Forever, a game that took a decade to develop. I love how they just throw that in there, just as like, a dig.
A little dig, just to
a little
Duke
dig.
Nukem Forever, like, fuck you.
Oh man, it's so fucking good. When Borderlands was released in 2009, the game turned out to be a critical and commercial success. This led Gearbox to immediately start working on a sequel, and outsourced primary development on Colonial Marines to Timegate Studios. Have you ever heard of Timegate Studios?
No, of course not.
Well, that sums up that. That's probably why it's so shit, but... Oh my God.
I love that. This Borderlands did really well. Fuck Colonial Marines.
I still love that Randy Pitchford gets really annoyed and will like yell at people when they bring up the fact, did you steal money from Sega for Colonial Marines to make Borderlands 2 DLC? And he's like, no, I didn't.
No, we didn't do that. No.
Do you also hear that he once left like a thumb drive full of pornography just in a restaurant somewhere?
Wasn't it like child pornography or something?
I don't know.
I've
If that gets bleeped and we get like slapped with a libel one, we'll know. Anyway, in late 2010, when Timegate started to focus their work on Colonial Marines, the company realised that very little progress had been made. According to one source, the game was simply a collection of unrelated assets.
I've never heard a game described that way.
Just an unrelated bunch of assets, like Alien, man. Like one of the most legend. Oh, fucking hell. This makes me so sad. It makes me just like...
You can just see your soul leaving your body.
Because I love the Alien is so cool. It's so cool. So although Timegate handled primary development on the game until Borderlands 2 was almost complete, their work had to constantly be approved by both Gearbox and Sega. Because narrative designs were still writing the script of the campaign mode, entire scenes and missions were discarded due to story changes. One of these involved the player escorting a scientist who would be a secret agent working for the Weyland-Yutani Corporation. So a cool thing that got cut because the story changed. To further complicate the situation, there were disagreements on how the game should be designed. Sega wanted Colonial Marines more similar to Call of Duty, with fewer aliens and more Marines to shoot at.
Of course it did, because will there ever come to an end of hearing Publisher X wants things to be Call of Duty?
It's just... what? It reminds me so much like Dead Space.
Oh,
like
God.
Dead Space 1 and 2, like... utter classics of the genre.
Knocked it out of the park.
And then in number 3, it's like, yeah, but let's shoot more people. Not the super cool, interesting, no.
Let's throw in co-op microtransactions and human beings.
So fucking... It's... Call of Duty, I love that series, but it ruined gaming for about 5-10 years. Because everything just became Call of Duty. Everything had perks and kill streaks. It was so annoying. Anyway, so a view Gearbox and Timegate disagree. So I'm glad that they did that. Gee, that's what a stupid... It's a game about the alien.
Oh, you know what we should add? Loads of humans to shoot.
It's literally the first word of the title of the game is just alien. And Sega are like, let's just put less aliens in it. Developers also struggled to optimize the game, spending a significant amount of time increasing its graphical fidelity for a press demo, which ran on high-end computers not normally meant for general use. The game's shader and particle fidelity was then decreased before release. Textures had to be reduced in size to fit the memory constraints of the PlayStation 3 and Xbox. That reminds me, like, I think it was a reveal, like early in the life cycle of the Xbox One, and in the background of like one thing they're showing, you can just hear like the Windows startup noise or something like that. It's like, oh yeah, this is, and it says underneath running on actual hardware, and then you just hear like a Windows noise in the background. It's like,
Is there any worse than the Killzone 2 reveal?
Oh, God. I still like the one, though. I think there's a guy playing, like, Uncharted, and it's like, running on actual hardware, massive letters, and, like, Drake just falls out of world.
I mean, at least it's representative of gameplay.
Drake falls out of world, man. Oh, God. When Gearbox took the project back in mid-2012, the company was not satisfied with Timegate's work, partially because the game could not run on a PlayStation 3. What? It could not run on the one of 2 consoles it was developed for. The release date set for 2013, asking Sega for an extension was not an option because the game had already been delayed several times, resulting in Gearbox having 9 months to revise Timegate's work and finish the game. How much of the game was actually made by Gearbox was highly questioned by Timegate. According to Gearbox CEO and known asshole Randy Pitchford, Timegate contributed 20 to 25% of the game's overall development time. I'll point out that Randy Pitchford lies all the time, so make of that quote what you will. However, without considering Gearbox's pre-production time, Pitch said that Timegate's effort was equivalent to theirs. A moderator on the official Timegate forum revealed that the studio worked on the weapons, characters, aliens, story, and multiplayer components, while some Timegate developers estimate that 50% of the campaign mode was made by them.
I'm not gonna lie, I'd be trying to put as much shit on them as possible.
That's the thing. You'd think they'd be like, no, Gearbox. If Gearbox want to take credit for it, this huge
you
turd.
fucking go for it.
I don't get why they would come out as a company and say, no, we made this turd. This is our turd. Like, someone walks in, there's a big shit in the middle of the carpet. Imagine this, right? And then Randy Pitchford goes, oh, well, that was me. And then you go, no, I did half the shit. I helped with that.
Half
that shit is mine, blame me. So I don't get, if you want to run with this and take
mate.
Whatever.
Yes.
Anyway, several actors from the films were involved in the game. Michael Biehn reprised his role as Dwayne Hicks, while Lance Henriksen voiced the androids Bishop and Michael Wayland. Henriksen remarked that it was interesting to voice the character that had not touched in more than 25 years, and then he was in Alien vs Predator. In contrast, Biehn commented negatively on his experience in voicing his character, stating that there was a lack of passion from people who were in charge of the project. I love that Lance Henriksen's like really diplomatic. Like, it was fun to be like, Bishop again, and like Michael Bihn's like, fuck this game.
None of them gave a shit about this.
Oh god, marketing and release. 'Cause this is where the fun stuff starts. This is where the fun begins, to quote one Darth Vader. Is Anakin Skywalker? Do you consider them to be separate characters?
Yeah. In my headcanon,
like Darth Vader,
they are essentially two separate characters.
And when Darth Vader goes back to he becomes Anakin again.
Yes, yeah.
I've always just been curious about that because I consider them separate characters. So yeah, it's Anakin Skywalker. Anyway.
Yeah, at the end of Episode 6, he returns to being Anakin.
Yeah, well, he does.
Yeah,
that's why he's the Force Ghost.
Well, yes.
That's still my favourite thing they ever did. I love that so much. And they keep trying to make the demake. They try to demake the special editions and take out all the shit George Lucas put in. I would love a version that's just that. The only thing you keep in is that, because it's so funny just to see just Hayden Christensen's smug ass face, just like, I got paid for this. Every time this movie gets released on DVD, I get my cut. So I love that shit.
God.
At the 2011 Electronic Entertainment Expo, or E3, in Los Angeles, after confirming that Colonial Marines were released in spring of 2012, Gearbox unveiled a teaser trailer and revealed that a Wii U version was in development. A live gameplay demo played by Gearbox representatives was also showcased at the event, all of which were big lies. Say, oh, you'll like this, mate. In January 2012, Sega announced that the game had been delayed to a fall 2012 release. Remember, it came out in 2013, so it got delayed again. Because the company did not want to sacrifice the creative process for the sake of following a deadline. Keep in mind, earlier in this very page, they say, oh yeah, they shat it out onto the market because Sega said, keep to the fucking deadline. Oh, you'd think the company who made Sonic 2006 would have more creative integrity. But anyway, I digress. Prior to its release, Colonial Marines was criticised for not featuring any playable female characters. That is actually weird, isn't it? Considering Aliens, the series Aliens, be a champion of that.
Exactly, yeah.
Sigourney Weaver, Ellen Ripley is one of the most best
influential and best female lead protagonists
of all time. That is very strange, actually. So yeah, when a petition was formed to change this, Gearbox included both cooperative and multiplayer modes. Oh, cool. Lucas, we're here for one reason, and that is the reception part. All that preamble was just leading up to this. So, Colonial Marines received negative reviews from critics, who criticised its uninspiring gameplay, technical issues, low-quality graphics, superficial thrills, and especially compared to Cameron's film. One writer for IGN remarked that, although Colonial Marines looks and sounds like Aliens, it does not feel like it, and does not bring anything new to the first-person shooter.
Oh, right, okay. That was it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's about all I could probably say about it.
Okay. Similarly, Kevin Van Ord of GameSpot described the game as a shallow bit of science fiction fluff with cheap production values and an indifferent attitude. Entertainment Gaming Monthly, however, praised the game for its respect to the source material, describing Colonial Marines as the best gaming representation of the franchise to date. And when I say that, Lucas, please put in the canny alien.
It's did they play the game?
They did, but I'm assuming as well they also got mad paid to do that, because I don't think anyone who played that game would ever say, oh yeah, this is so alien, physically overpowering the most deadly creature in the universe with your bare fucking hands.
Respecting the franchise!
Yeah! The game was criticised for having low resolution textures, low quality lighting, poor character models and animations, uncontrolled aliasing and screen tearing. Eurogamer noted that the game reuses graphical assets very often, resulting in many levels having identical corridors and murky exteriors. However, the alien's aesthetic was praised by some reviewers, with Edge noting it was reproduced faithfully in the game, that it was still attractive years after the film was released. So I guess that it looks like.
Well, putting the alien doing a can back in.
Put it back in, yeah. Very, very faithful. Do you know what you need to do? Put that in, and then put that quote from that guy underneath it. Just do that in massive fucking, like, with his name as well. So he's like so proud. And then make a gif of it and tweet it at him. Let's do that shit. The game's numerous bugs frustrated critics. These included poor collision detection, glitchy artificial intelligence causing enemies to freeze or fail to recognise each other. So this is my favourite bit. We need to talk about this, because did you hear that they fixed the AI for Aliens years after it came out?
Was it like wasn't it a modder that changed like one line of code or something?
No, one line of code, one letter in one line of code. There is like a mistake where one letter in one line of code, which made the aliens interact with you, was just wrong. So what the aliens did is just ran in a straight line towards you, or not at all. They didn't recognise where you were, whether they're supposed to move in like relation to your like location, and they changed it. It's like, oh, now the aliens actually move. Because I think there's a level where just the aliens just walk straight past you. Because like, the program's just run in a straight line towards where you spawn. So you just run straight past it. Oh, great, man. Awesome.
Oh, this is why I quit programming.
Oh, the story drew criticism for its lack of consistent continuity with the Aliens films. Canon. Do you know what you need to do as well? Put that GIF back in, and now with that guy's got, and then put canon at the top. Do that. Oh, man. Edge remarked that the game's colonial marines are in appropriate context because in the film they're depicted as Weyland-Yutani's private army and tasked with fighting alien creatures. However, in the game, the colonial marines fight Weyland-Yutani's other private military armies. So just a logical inconsistency there.
Yeah.
You know, on top of all the other shit, it don't make sense.
Just didn't even give a shit.
Destructoid editor, one Jim Sterling, criticised the story for its archetypal characters and immature dialogue, saying that the game fails to understand the essence of aliens.
I was just waiting for it to be like, Jim Sterling said this was great.
Give it a 10 out of 10. Love that guy. He explained that the film dissected its posturing manly man stereotype and showcased how utterly frail a cowboy mentality can be when everything falls apart, while Colonial Marines revels in its own testosterone, submerged gleefully in a pool of dank ultramasculine. The whole point of Aliens is that the Marines get their shit wrecked by the alien because it doesn't give a fuck. And all the bravado they display is immediately underwritten when the alien just comes and tears them to pieces. And the game's like, no, shoot the aliens, son, you got this shit. Oh, journalists primarily criticised the gameplay for weak artificial intelligence of enemies. They remarked that the xenomorphs simply rushed towards players, making the motion tracker useless. Well, I will admit, Aliens would have been a lot more interesting if they look at the motion tracker and instead of seeing the aliens deftly move around and sneak about, they all just they saw 15 red dots just charge towards them. That's so terrifying. Also, as well, that is the stupidest piece of technology in that universe because all it shows you is that something is moving ahead of you, and I think it picks up like a hamster. So, according to the motion tracker, a hamster gives the same reading as like a 300-pound, 15-foot-long fucking alien. It's crazy.
I would love to see an alien isolation mod where nobody knows it's going to happen, but 15 dots just appear on the market. No!
It's so terrifying. Reminds me of a story. I think it's is it Alan Davis from QI. He's telling a story about when Stephen Fry showed him what Grindr is.
Oh, God.
And he says you go on Grindr and it has like a map that shows you how far away the nearest person on it is. And Stephen Fry's demonstrating it. He says it was like Alien. Because he went, oh, there's a guy 15 feet away. Oh, no, he's coming towards us. And it's just this red dot. He says he felt so uneasy. He says, somewhere out there, a gay man is approaching us and I don't know what his motive is. It's great. Anyway. So, according to game trailers, there's never really the sense that you're being stalked by an intelligent enemy. You always get a warning ping anyway. The setting, so they don't try and sneak around you, they just bum rush you. The setting and level design were praised, but GameSpot noted that levels were clearly not designed for cooperative gameplay. Oh, man.
Basically, I think we've summed up every part was criticised about the game. Controversy
and loss. A Wikipedia page about a fucking video game is good when the last section is lawsuits. Upon release, Colonial Marines drew a significant amount of controversy. According to a report, Gearbox had been moving people and resources off Colonial Marines onto Borderlands and Duke Nukem Forever while still collecting full payments from Sega.
Oh.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. When Sega discovered this misconduct, they temporarily cancelled Colonial Marines, leading to a round of layoffs in Gearbox. Randy Pitchford survived though. Gearbox outsourced a significant portion of their development, yet we all discussed that. While Sega initially denied such outsourcing, sources claimed otherwise, stating that the game was rushed through redesign, certification, and shipping, despite being largely unfinished. The game drew additional controversy when sequels and press demos were compared to the final game. Yeah, and then there's like the thing that people do where they just filed a fucking loss. But
Yeah.
God, it's just, do you know what the word to sum it up is? It's just disappointing.
Very disappointing.
Because like then, like Alien Isolation came out and it's just a phenomenal, like it hit it straight out of the park. Because that was a game where it was constantly being second guessed by higher ups. Like put more action in, put guns in. No one's going to play a game where you are constantly being like hunted by a murderous alien. It's like the film this is based on is one of the highest grossing better received movies of all time.
And I'm pretty sure the criticisms of the game are like later on
when it
becomes a bit more action based.
Because that's not the point. Like you're not supposed to fight the alien. You're supposed to run away from it. So, but just disappointing. Well, I'm going to do that when I get home. I'm going to buy a copy of this game and I'm going to put it right in between Aliens and Alien 3, and that's. No, I'm not even gonna. But I'm gonna force it into like the nice little neat box set that I've got. Just shove it right in the fucking. That's right, cannon on the front. So, that means the optimal. Like that means when you know the viewing parties. If I want to watch all of Aliens,
so between 2 and 3, you have to go play Colonial Marine.
So I rewatch like the Alien franchise like once a year because I really fucking love it. Now I've got to do that shit. Oh god!
Don't worry, we'll just stream it co-op, Karl.
Fucking hell! Fuck that game.